Hi all. So in our previous session, we started discussion about material management and production planning integration. Till now, we discuss about how the reservation gets created once we create the production orders or once we release the production order. We also discuss what is production order, what is process orders, right? And we also discuss about the material staging, how we stage the materials to the production storage location. Now, we'll start with our most important topic, that is MRP and CBP. What is meant by MRP? What is meant by CBP? MRP. MRP is nothing but material requirement planning. If you read it from the right to left, planning for the requirement of the material. Right? The main purpose of the MRP is to guarantee of the material availability. The main purpose of the MRP is to guarantee of the material availability. MRP ensures materials and products are available for productions and delivery to customers. So what is the main objectives of MRP? It ensures that the materials will be available for the productions as well as to sell to the customer. It also helps us to maintain the lowest possible level of inventory. We should not block our amount and we should not block our space to manage our inventory. It will help us to maintain the lowest possible level of the inventory. Plan manufacturing activities, delivery schedules, and purchase activity. It will help us to plan our manufacturing activities, when the production should start. For the particular productions, we need the components, when we should start purchasing those components, when we need the delivery from the suppliers for the components. So this complete plan can be possible with the help of material requirement planning. Making a bad decision in any of planning areas will make the company lose money. If any of our planning will not be correct, right, it results to loss in money. For example, if company purchases insufficient quantity of an item used in manufacturing or the wrong item, they may be unable to meet contracts to supply products by the agreed date. If we do not have the sufficient quantities available in our warehouse, and if you have not produced that much of quantities, or if you have not procured that much of quantity which is required by the customer, definitely we may not be able to supply that material to the customer, and it will increase the dissatisfaction for the customer. If a company purchases excessive quantity of an item, money is being wasted. For example, we need material X 100 quantity in a year, but we purchase around 1000 quantity. That means 900 quantity is excess. We have blocked our money for this one. It is again a wastage of our money. We cannot utilize this money for other purposes, right? The excess quantity ties up cash while it remains as stocks and may never even be used at all. This is particularly severe. This is a particularly severe problem for food manufacturers and companies with very short product life cycle. However, some purchased items will have minimum quantity that must meet. Therefore, purchasing excess is necessary. Then, beginning productions of an order at the wrong time can cause customer deadlines to be missed. We need to sell the materials on 1st of October. Ideally, we should start our productions on 15th of September. So the production time, then the GR processing time, then component purchase and everything's right, that require 10 to 15 days. But we missed this deadline. We have not started productions on a time. We started production on 25th of September. Within 5 days, it is not possible to complete this production activities, right? So definitely we will miss our deadlines to sell the product. That's the reason material requirement planning is very important, to have the material available on right time with the right quantity. Correct? Let us see how the process flows works in MRP. Before going to the process flows, let us discuss about the MRP procedures. What are the different MRP procedures are there? We have three types of MRP procedure. One is material requirement planning. We are calling it as a MRP. Then we have master production scheduling, MPS, and we have consumption based planning. For material management consultant, these two are not important. Not important means it's mainly taken care by the production planning consultant. MRP and MPS will be taken care by production planning consultant and business users. But it is required that material management consultants should have this understanding how the MRP and MPS works, how the how the dependent requirements and independent requirements are calculated, right? What is meant by MPS? So this is very important to understand by the material management consultant. Material management consultant are mostly interactive with CBP. We are going to discuss about this one. Let us see MRP, material requirement planning. Material requirement planning, it uses current and future sales figure. It uses dependent and independent requirements. It uses the sales figure. What are the sales orders we have, which we want to issue, which we need to issue the material? What is the sales forecast for the next 6 months or next 1 year? Based on that one, this plan can be executed. The system calculates the requirement based on the warehouse stocks, receipts, etc. I have around 1000 quantity to sell, but already I have 500 quantities in my stock. So that's whatever quantities we have already in our stock, right? That will be considered while planning. If externally procured, then procurement proposals. If internally productions, then it leads to creation of planned orders, and also independent requirements are calculated. There are two types of materials which we can either procure from external sources, for example suppliers, or which we can produce in-house, that is internal production. Normally finished products we are actually manufacture internally. We are not purchasing finished products, we are manufacturing internally. But the raw materials normally we purchase from the external sources. So if the particular materials is required to procure from the external sources, it will create a purchasing requisition. If that particular materials is required to be produced in-house, system will create a planned orders, and based on that planned orders, a production orders can be initiated. The best thing about this is that it leads to minimize of inventory, which leads to reduction of cost involved. MRP will help us to minimize the inventory, and which helps to reduction in cost involved. Right now, we are going to, this is completely theoretical currently we are seeing. We are going to discuss this in system as well. Let us see how the MRP works. First of all, there will be a demand generates. How the demand will generate? Based on the dependent requirement and independent requirement. Right? So we have some customer sales orders. There is a demand that we need to sell 100 quantity. Also, there is some sales forecast. So after 3 months, there is some festival season. We need there might be a chance that sales will increase. So in last 2 years, how much quantity we have sold during this month? We have sold around 500 quantity. So we'll take that forecast. So next 6 months, what is the forecast we have? So based on the forecasting, based on the sales orders, based on the planned independent requirements, system will calculate what our demands. In demand management, sales are planned in advance via sales forecast. The result in independent requirement, that is the requirement for the finished product. In order to cover these requirements, MRP runs and calculate procurement activity quantities and dates, as well as plans the corresponding procurement elements. If the material is produced in-house, the system also calculates the dependent requirements, that is the quantity of components required to produce the finished products or the assembly. By exploding the bomb, if a material shortage exists, planned orders are created every bomb level to cover requirements. Production orders or purchase orders are created. So this is a process flow. We will discuss this process flow here as well. So you can see from the sales and distributions, independent requirements are generated. There might be dependent requirement generated by exploding the bombs. And finally, once we initiate the MRP, system will create the plan orders. If this material is required to produce in-house, system will create the production order for that material. If the material is required to be purchased, system will create a purchase requisitions, and follow on there is a purchase orders, and this material we are going to purchase it from the external sources. So this is the MRP complete flow charts. Let us see one example. Okay. Normally, when we see the MRP, obviously we can run the MRP for single materials as well, and we can run the materials for the assemblies as well. Okay. So here one of the examples. Normally we maintain our bill of materials, right? Where we have maintained our finished products, and there are 3 components. For example, let's take this examples. We have computer. We are producing computer in-house. So computer is my finished product, final product, right? To produce one quantity of computers, I need one quantity of monitor, one quantity of keyboard, one quantity of mouse, and one quantity of CPU. Right? Now monitor is my raw materials, keyboard is my raw materials, mouse is my raw materials, because these are actually I'm purchasing from external vendors. CPU is also required to produce a computer, but CPU is semi-finished product for me. I'm assembling CPUs in our premises. So to produce one quantity of CPU, I need motherboards, hard disk, power supply cables, and a RAM. Correct? So what happens? This is a main bomb which requires these 4 components, in which the 4th component is also explodes having different components. So this is an assembly item, right? This is a finished product. These 3 are raw materials. This is semi-finished materials and assembly, and this contains these 4 raw materials. I created these material numbers here, right? And let us see how the MRP works. To understand MRP, we need to understand some transaction codes: MD04, MD01, MD02, MD03. These are the 3 transactions we need to understand. Let us see. MD04. This is a stock requirement list. This will tell us the complete information about the stocks. What is my requirements, dependent, independent requirements. What is my MRP element data? How much available quantity? How much is received? All these informations we are going to get it in this screen, MD04. Let us see MD01. If I want to run complete MRP for entire plant, I will use MD01 transaction. MD01 transactions I will use if I want to run an MRP for entire plant. Right? Now, MD02. MD02 single item material levels. I will run the MRP for this particular material for this plant. But multi-level means this material will run for all the components maintained in their BOM. If there is any assembly, that will drill down to the assembly level as well. That is my single item multi-level. Then MD03. This is single item single level. Only for this material it will run the MRP for this. Okay, now let us see the bill of materials in the system. I'll go to the CS03. I already created this bill of material. So I'll go to the CS03. I'll give my original material, that is final product 300071, my plant, and my BOM usage. So how I maintain my bill of materials, if you see here, to produce one quantity of this particular material, I need this raw material. That is, to produce one computer HP 100, I need monitor 14-inch, standard keyboards, mouse optical, and CPU. Now, if you see the CPU, this is again a semi-finished product, and it is mentioned as assembly. What is meant by assembly? There is a BOM for this material as well. That means we are producing this material in-house, and to produce this materials also there are some component. So there is a bill of materials maintained for this particular component. So if I go to the CS03 and if I provide this material number, I can see to produce one CPU, I need one quantity motherboard, one quantity hard disk, one power supply UPS, and 2 RAM. Right? So if I want to run an MRP for this particular material, right, I need these 3 components to be procured externally because these are the raw materials. This material has to be produced in-house. To produce this material in-house, we need this component. So we need to purchase these materials as well. Right? So this much of drill down MRP can be run. Let us see in our systems. I'll create one sales orders, and then later I'll maintain the independent requirement as well in demand management, and we'll see how the MRP will impact the stock quantities and all. So I'll go with VS01 for now. My order type OR, sales organization, my distribution channel, my division. This is my sold to party. This is my ship to party. This is my PO day, PO number, payment terms, Incoterms. I'll give my original materials which is requested by our customer, and customer requested 100 quantity for plant EBR. So ATP will work here, and let me save my sales order. So this is a sales order 17 has been created. Now let us see the MD04 transaction. MD04 will help us to provide the complete stock requirement information. So you can see in stock requirement list for the final product, system has mentioned there is one customer order for 100 quantity. Right? There is a requirement of 100 quantities. That is minus. But we still have 0 quantity available. Right? Let us see one of the component as well. So I'll go to the MD04 again, but this time I'll open one of the component. For example, this monitor 14-inch. You can see there is a 0 stock currently. Let us run the MRP. I'll run the MRP with transaction code MD02. I would like to drill down up to each component. Right? Complete BOM I need to consider. So I'll use this transaction code. I want to run the MRP for main product, this, right? And I'll select these options here. We'll discuss about these options in MD02 and MD01 screens. For the timing, I'll just press enter. Yeah, so MRP is carried out, and you can see there is one planned order created. Let me save it. As soon as I save, the system is asking, because it's a multi-level, do you want to proceed with the drill down? I want to proceed. So I'll select these options and keep continue. So my complete MRP has run. Now if I go down, you can see these many materials impacted or updated with the help of MRP. Right? Now, if you see here in MD04, this is my customer order. If I refresh it, you can see there is a planned order 25 created for 100 quantity. These planned orders I can convert into the production order. this plan orders I can convert into the production order. I can create my production order. Let us see for the components. If I refresh the components, I can see there is a dependent requirement for this particular material, and you can see there is a plan order created. If I open this one, we can create a purchase requisition for this plan order for this component, right? If I see another component, for example 94, which is part of this assembly, so I can see there is a plan order generated for this material as well, and from here we can create a purchase requisition, right? So these many plan orders are getting are created, and we can convert these plan orders into the purchase requisitions. There is a possibility that system will directly create a purchase requisitions as well based on the configuration. Now let us see what we'll do. We'll just, now this is how our requirement planning generated when we created a sales order, right? Because of the sales order, system has generated, okay, this we need these many quantities. Either we need to produce in-house, either we need to procure from external sources. This planning is done. Then the complete procurement process will start for the materials which required to be procured from the external sources. Complete production process will start for the materials which needs to be required to be produced in-house, right? Now let us see if there will be any independent requirement. Independent requirement means there is some sales forecast, and sales mentioned that, okay, in the month of September we need another 200 quantity. There might be another requirements from the customers which may arise, and this is a forecasting based on which we are mentioning, okay, in the September we need another 200 quantity. Now the PP business users will maintain this forecasting informations into MD61 transaction. This is the demand management transaction. Here for the particular material, for the final product, he will mention, okay, we need 200 additional requirements. He mentioned it here. Let us save it. Now let us run the MRP. If I run the MRP, let us see what changes will do for the final product as well as the component. So I'll go to the MD02 again. This is my final product. I'll run the MRP for the final product. Let's enter. Okay, you can see there is a plan order created for the final product as well, 200 quantity, right? If I save it, system is asking to drill down. Yes, to drill down, and we can see these all materials gets updated. Now let us see the stock requirement informations. This is my 30071. So 100 quantity raised against the sales orders, the current sales orders. This 200 based on the independent requirement came from the demand management, right? So total 300 quantities we need it. Customer order is 300. Currently we have only 0, right? Now if I go to the components, if I refresh, you can see here there is a dependent requirement for 100 quantity from the sales orders. There is a dependent requirement for the 200 quantity from the demand management. So that way we need total 300 quantity. So if I open these ones, the system will allow us to create a purchase requisitions for 300 quantities, right? Now, how system knows that this is required to be created as a production orders or this requires to be converted as a purchase requisition? It will come from our material master. So I'll go to the material master MM02. Let us see the final product. What are the settings we have maintained in the final product? So this is my main materials. Let us see the MRP view. As we are following MRP, the MRP type will be PD, that is MRP. Okay. Then I have maintained the MRP controller who is responsible to execute this MRP. Lot size in MRP2 view, we have maintained, okay, what is the planned delivery time? What is the GR processing time? What is the in-house production time for this material? And this is one of the important E. Procurement type E means this material is going to be produced in-house. As this material is going to be produced in-house, system will give an options that this plan order has to be converted as a production order or process order, right? Now, for the components, let's see the components. I'll go to the MM02. So go to the MRP1. You can see this is also MRP, GR processing time, everything is there, but the procurement type is F. F means this has to be externally procured. As this matter has to be, as this is not going to be produced in-house, and as this is the raw materials, we have to purchase it from the external source. And that is the reason the planned orders has to be converted as a purchase requisitions, or we can directly convert while creating a MRP, while running the MRP system will convert those requirements into a purchase requisitions directly, right? So this is the settings through which we can control our production planned orders, right? Then we have these MD0 and MD02, MD03 and MD04 screens. Now what happens? We have to purchase these materials, raw materials. We have to create a production orders. The whatever purchased raw materials we have, that raw materials we have to supply to the production. They will complete the productions and they will deliver that materials to the customers, or they will produce that materials and make in stock. So that way, a different means the complete planning will be done for the material availability and for the productions as well as for the sale point of view, right? So this is all about our MRP, and this is how the MRP will get executed. Now, in our next sessions, we'll discuss about the MPES and consumption-based planning. Material management consultant mostly interactive with CBP. It uses the past consumption data, and based on that one, it will calculate the future requirements. There is no any planning will be done, means like material requirement plannings, system will not consider the sales orders or demand management informations. If the stock falls below the reorder point, system will generate the requirements to purchase the material. So this concept we'll see in our next sessions. We'll see the complete consumption based plannings and the types of MRP procedures under consumption based planning. Thank you.